Let's do a little sip, a quick sip.
Yes, sir.
Because that's part of the tradition.
Mm-hmm. That was good.
All right.
Welcome to Education is Painful, the podcast where you will learn. This is a Toro Strategic Production, part of the INGIN Media Group, in association with Hearst Digital Media.
My guest today, the very, very first man who probably needs a little bit of introduction.
Smiling so big right now.
He's known as Dark Clark Kent, master of the diamond, heavy hitter, the voice, the magical voice of Noonish, and my brother, Jonathan Anderson.
Yes.
J.A.
What's going on? What's going on, Jonathan, man? I'm very happy to be your first
I
guest.
am glad that you were patient enough to sit here while we figure all this stuff out.
No, this is awesome, man. Like, this is awesome, bro. Like, this whole journey has been amazing.
Yeah. We were just talking a little while ago about Noonish and how much just super cool stuff we've done on there.
Yeah.
And we're starting to branch out and do some different things and learn all these new things, and it's just really cool all the stuff that we've been doing.
It's been a heck of a ride, man.
Yeah.
And just proud. I'm proud of you. You know,
same, man.
For branching out and you know, everything you've been doing.
Yeah.
From the running to the videos.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah. Well.
No, it's just very cool. Jonas is cool, man. I don't know. If y'all don't know by now, Jonas is one cool cat. Man.
Well, one of the things that we did want to do with this show is talk about, we spend a lot of time with Noonish with us and you in particular talking to other people about what they do, but this is an opportunity for us to talk about J.A.
Oh, man.
And what's going on in your world, how you got where you are. And I think the people who know you probably know bits and pieces, but just as I've gotten to know you, it's just an incredible story there. So let's just begin at the beginning.
Yeah.
You started off in Oak Cliff, right?
Yes.
That's where you were.
Yep. Born and raised. Baylor Hospital, Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, spent the first 7.5 years of my life in Oak Cliff, and through some tragic occurrences, if you want to call it tragic, a flood and a robbery, we moved out to Cedar Hill, and that's where I finished out the rest of my teen years and graduated high school.
And I think it's fair to say you've still got a strong connection to both communities, really.
Absolutely, yeah. I've got a ton of. I probably have the biggest family in Dallas.
I would have to agree with that.
Yeah,
you have what I would call an extended family.
Yes, and my mother was a family of 15. She was one of 15.
Wow.
And she.
So I thought my dad was one of 8. I think. Yeah. I thought that was a lot.
Well, I heard back then the goal was to have 10 kids.
Right. Maybe. I don't know.
So things have changed.
Yeah, things have definitely changed.
Yes. I don't know how my grandmama did it.
For real.
But yeah. So my mom was one of 14, so I've got a slew of cousins running around the city.
Nice.
With I'm still meeting cousins.
Yeah, right.
In Dallas,
yeah.
Like it's
kind of the same. I hear you.
Yeah, but grew up and went on to move to Cedar Hill and had some great opportunities. As a teenager to go to a private school and graduate from Arlington Grace Prep, and all due to sports, and I'm just very thankful for those opportunities. And
so I was going to say that. So there's some other occurrences in there while you were growing up and going to school related to some sport. That's something most people haven't heard of it.
Yeah, baseball, man.
Baseball.
Yeah, man. No, I was lucky to. There was a draft actually yesterday.
Oh yeah.
MLB draft was yesterday.
Sweet. Yeah.
And year 2000, I got the phone call from the Cubs, and
2000.
Yeah, that seems like a forever ago, doesn't it? Like, dude, seems like yesterday.
Seems like yesterday in some ways. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, those 21 years just flew
I had already
by.
been in and out of the military by the time.
No, man, that's kudos to you for that, man.
No, it's not.
That's a big deal.
I mean,
but
I think everybody should do it.
Yeah, no, I wish I had the guts. Like, I mean, I'm sure if I had to, I could.
Yeah, I think because I think that's something that we've talked a little bit about before. I don't necessarily think that everybody needs to go to combat duty, but going and doing some sort of not necessarily quote military, some sort of community service kind of thing, where you learn some things, meet some people outside of your normal circle, travel a little bit. And just get some experience of the world before you go to, on to start a career or college or whatever. I mean, I think that would help a lot of people in a lot of different ways. But that's what I mean. Yeah. Appreciation.
That's one of the things when I did play ball, like going to the children's hospitals and things like that.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even thought about it. You hadn't even told me about that.
Yeah, man. It was baseball, man. I learned so much. First of all, a gentleman. When I was going to Cedar Hill High School, went through some tragic events in my family, and my big brother going through some things, and I got to learn from my big brother and watching him and learning what not to do and where not to go, things like that. But
it's real,
There was a time in my life where there's a switch that when my older brother got shot when I was 14 in the face in a drive-by. And I didn't have an outlet.
And let's just be clear. This is in Dallas.
Yeah,
this is in Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
Not South Central LA.
No, this is
not Chicago.
Yeah, this is in Oakland.
So this is not some crazy shit that happens somewhere else. This is in our little world here.
Absolutely. And I was 14 when that happened, and it was the weekend of Thanksgiving.
Oh.
And just after Thanksgiving or whatnot, and so I didn't know how to feel about it. I was angry and had all these emotions and stuff, and I played football at the time.
Right.
I didn't play Pee Wee or anything like that. I just played with the school, but I had Mike Barber, former tight end for the Houston Oilers. He was a pretty big name around here. If you drive down 20, you'll see Barber Road. That was named after my coach. And he took me under his wing. He found me on the baseball field and asked me if I wanted to come play football for him. And that's how I ended up going to Trinity Christian, Cedar Hill, then out to Grace Prep. And now they've made the Mike Barber rule where a coach can't take players from a school to another school with them. But, we got some pretty good exposure, won a couple championships out at Grace Prep. But, he brought some peace and calm to my life.
Right.
Because there was a time when I was just flipping out.
Right.
Because I didn't go to any counseling or anything for what happened. So, if anybody did anything that triggered me, like I was just going down the wrong path. And I wasn't dealing with my anger.
Which is
very well.
Derek James, one of our awesome guests on Noonish, has talked about the fear and anger and so on that drives a lot of people down the wrong path.
Absolutely. And I was going down that path. And I remember, that year that happened, I was in the principal's office one time for being late or something, like in the first semester of school, and then the second semester I was in there 28 times.
Oh wow!
And just snapping.
So basically from typical teenage shenanigans to this kid's got some issues.
Yeah, something's going on.
Right.
So, luckily Big Barber, shout out to Coach Mike Barber on Trinity Broadcast Network, and he's got the Mike Barber Ministries and everything going on.
Yep.
Huge in the prison systems with his ministries, doing great things. He came down and brought some peace to my world and took me out to Arlington, and the rest was history. Ended up getting drafted. I played ball one summer for the Dallas Tigers, which is the team that I'm coaching now, with my coach that coached me.
Nice.
And a Yankee scout.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Yankee scout came out and found me. And
so how old were you at this time?
I was 16.
16.
Yeah, I was 16.
16, just getting scouted by
Yeah.
Major league. Like,
Yep.
like that's real.
Yeah. It's filling out cards, and
Yeah.
I was 17 when I was drafted. So
Right.
It
Okay.
was a very cool experience, and went on, ended up going to college at that time, and then had another opportunity to play pro ball.
Right.
So went back and did that, and it was a fun journey, man. Learned a lot of things. Treated like a king. I'm telling you,
Right.
there's nothing like the way that people look at you is just kind of
Yeah.
weird.
Right.
It's just like I hit a baseball.
Right.
It's like I'm not.
Yeah.
They're looking at me like y'all should come wash my feet or something. Like I'm Jesus or something. But no, it's just it was an awesome time in life.
Right.
But going back to the service, with baseball, I was able to go to children's hospitals and talk to the
Right.
kids. And I remember TK, another guest that we
Yep,
had.
yep.
He was my PR guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's one of the only people to be on the NFL Players Association that's never played in the NFL.
Right.
Just because of his connections.
As PR people goes, he's way up there.
Yeah,
For real.
He's great at what he does.
Absolutely.
And I was his
It's amazing.
only baseball player. Under his.
All right. Okay.
I guess I don't know what you want to call it, but on his
Right.
roster.
Right.
And he had a slew of Cowboys, so it'd be me and a bunch of Dallas Cowboys going on these trips
Right.
and doing things. And we went down. I remember we went down to San Antonio to the military hospital.
Right.
And this was that life-changing experience for me.
Okay.
I'm a fairly lighthearted guy,
True.
and
Yeah,
I like
I
making
would
people
agree.
laugh and things. And there was a 19-year-old guy that had just gotten back from Iraq.
Yeah.
Or one of the wars at the time.
Yeah. Would've-
Afghanistan maybe. And he was blown up by one of those IEDs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he was 19, he had his prom picture from when he was 18 sitting right next to
Right.
his bed. Good looking kid,
Right.
beautiful girlfriend. And I mean, this kid now, burned from head to toe.
Sure.
One ear, half of his lips were gone, and there's nothing I could do to make him smile,
Right.
no joke I cracked
Right.
can make him smile. And like to this day, I think about the just how blessed I am to be able to,
Sure.
because of him and other people like him,
Mm-hmm.
how blessed I am to be able to go out and play a game
Right.
and earn
Yeah.
and do things, and even now just to go
Yeah.
out and work and do
Yeah.
things because of people like him. And he's like a forgotten soldier, but
Right.
he risked his life and everything that he
Absolutely.
had in front of him for us. So
Yeah. And there's these guys are still out there taking these risks, and a lot of times don't really understand. I mean, you remember being 19.
yeah,
You don't understand geopolitical situations
Man, nothing.
and all that all the politics that's behind all that stuff. You
Yeah.
just you sign up and somebody says go and you go.
yep.
And
You've got a check coming in, and
a small check, yeah.
Yeah,
Not even much of a check.
Yeah.
For sure.
but yeah, that really affected me, and it's the reason why I go so hard to this day.
Right.
Because nothing's promised, and for us to be able to get out of here and be all we can be because of the lives of other people, I think
Right.
I think a lot of people take that for granted.
Right. Yeah, and we have pretty recently, we as in Noonish, which is the other podcast you should check out. We've been working with Tech for Troops. And man, I'm drawing a blank on his
Mark Casper?
Mark, yeah.
Yeah.
I know too many Marks.
Yeah,
I got too many Marks in my life.
It's a lot of those dudes walking around.
But so Mark Casper and Tech for Troops, it's a great place to provide some opportunities for people who come back and are maybe not in the best not in the best place or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy. It's definitely a challenge.
For sure.
Coming back from that.
For sure.
But so that was a big lesson, and we talked a little bit about playing ball.
Yep.
And who all did you play with?
Man, so
Because I'm supposed to know this.
out of school,
Right.
right? First organization I went to was the San Diego Padres,
Right.
and then from there, I played with teams you never heard of. I played the Gateway Grizzlies,
Right.
The Schaumburg Flyers,
Right.
the Rockford Riverhawks. You know,
Right.
it's minor league squads
Right.
that you've never heard of in your life.
Right. But that's
And,
sort of the paying your dues kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's not. So we see a lot on TV. You know, maybe less so with baseball, which we've talked about. I think that baseball could stand to do a better job of promoting themselves.
Yeah.
But you don't see as much of baseball, but you kind of get a glimpse of the baller lifestyle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not what you were doing in the minor leagues.
I mean, you still get a glimpse of the lifestyle. You just don't get the money. I mean, we were still well taken care of. You know, we had host families. Our host families were awesome. Usually a well-to-do family with some kids that like baseball.
Sure.
And meals for the most part are taken care of. You've got your spreads at the parks, and you've got maybe 3 or 4 restaurants around town that you can go and just grab a meal, grab your drinks, all paid for.
Right.
So I mean, you're making a little bit of nothing, but you're not having to spend much either.
Right.
So
okay.
That aspect of it was good, but once the season's over with, you're right back to getting a job, until the next season rolls around.
Right. So it's very much a seasonal employment kind of thing.
Yeah. You're talking in March to September.
Yeah.
Typically is how far April to September.
Yeah.
That's how long you're gonna
now how much lead time do you have? So let's say you season ends, great season, you go to work at where?
Yeah, so I went and worked with TK. That was my guy.
Okay, yeah.
So he had an office over Office 635, debt consolidation shop.
Right, that's right. Yep, I remember that.
Just go in there, strap on a headset, get my hours in.
Yeah, get your hours in.
Leave work around 2 o'clock and go get my work. Go to the gym, hit the cage.
Right.
Because I still got to keep my game up.
That's where I was going. Was like how much lead time do you have from that to back in shape to start the season?
Yeah. So you'll take a little bit, maybe a month off or whatnot, and then we always.
But not off, but like
from baseball, just put the ball down, get away from the game for a little bit, just clear your mind, and then pick it back up. Early November. Right. And then all the way through until you leave again. Right. You're just working. Yeah. Hitting the cages, working out.
This is in addition to
to actually
doing collection calls and whatever other thing you got to do to get the hours in.
Yep. In addition to actual work. Yeah. So it's like 2 jobs, but one of them, it's a goal. You got a goal in mind, and it's you're doing what you have to do to be able to do what you want to do. Right. So. And the whole idea is to get to the show, so you don't have to have to do all that, man.
Get to the big show.
Yeah. But it was I had a great time, and I wouldn't trade that experience in for the world. I decided to get married my senior year of college, and had a son when I was 28, and that's the reason why I stepped away from the game.
Right.
I had a son when I was 27, and 20. I don't know how old I was.
You can forget how old you were, just don't forget his birthday. That's
Yeah, I was 26. I was 26 when I had a son, and I was 27 when I had my son. I'll never forget his birthday. But I played that season away from him, and then I decided not to do that anymore.
Yeah.
It didn't feel right.
Right.
I never lived a day without my dad, unless he just went on a trip or something for work or something like that.
Right.
But that was rare, and I just those family values always stuck with me.
So that kind of brings me to another similar topic, I guess. So the show is Education is Painful, which is about hard lessons learned, and lessons learned. So that's I think you got a couple of things there that you touched on. you mentioned, let's just start right here, where you mentioned the importance of family, the importance of having a father in the family. What's your thoughts on that? What do you feel about what you learned from being away for a period of time there, and just in general from your own life as that goes?
Yeah, it's just I don't know how. And shout out to all the single moms, because y'all are
for sure,
amazing.
Undoubtedly.
Y'all do a great job. And man, I got a 2-year-old at home right now.
Yeah.
And that dude's nuts. But I just, like I said, I never went a day without my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just hard for me to picture my son growing up without his father around. How can you raise a boy to be a man and you're not there?
Right.
Type deal. And that was just important to me. And I, like I said, shout out to all the single women that make it happen.
But I think most of the single women would rather have a good man, not necessarily to be in their life, but they would rather have a good man in their kid's life than not.
Yeah. And it's just important for me to not be one of those statistics, like,
for real.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm well. There's no
Right.
reason that my son shouldn't have his father
Right.
around and have someone to hopefully look up to.
Right. Right.
I know I'm not perfect and all, but I try my best to set the best example for my son.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things is you keep learning as life goes on, and
Yep.
and so on.
For sure.
But you also mentioned the well, I think we kind of worked over the veteran and service part of it, but you in college you took kinesiology and
well, I just
like sports medicine. Is that
initially it was I was going after computer science, and then when I transferred, they no longer offered that degree.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I had to.
Oh, wow.
I had a ton of hours.
So which school was this?
UT Tyler, and it's weird because it's an engineering school.
Yeah, I was gonna say. And UT is so they were probably moving to DTD.
Yeah. So I think now they do provide the course, but then
wow,
they didn't.
So
computers were still a fairly new situation back then. Right?
Yeah, but still, I mean, that seems like that would be a
exactly. That's what I thought.
That's what I come on, guys.
Yeah, so they didn't.
Think about
they didn't offer the course.
Right.
And I think because UT Southwestern was a huge thing down there, so they had a huge nursing program, and then just straight engineering.
Right.
But no computer science, but at the time. But no. So then I had to switch over to kinesiology because, I mean, what's basically the computer's modeled after the human body. So.
Yeah, arguably, yeah.
Right. I mean, the brain and the
well, and you know a little bit about it from your sports career. You pick up. Things to do, things not to do, and have a little bit of a.
Yeah. No, it was. Like I said, my major. People ask me what my major was, and it was baseball. Man, I was
major in baseball.
I was playing baseball.
Yeah.
And did what I had to do to stay on the field and and get my hours in and graduate and everything. So.
Yeah, but I've noticed you still have a fair. You still remember some of the kinesiology stuff, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still in there.
Yeah, no, because I mean it's very interesting to me.
Yeah,
sure. Manipulating the body and just the human body, I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, God built a pretty incredible machine that no one's been able to figure out just yet,
And almost every environment on this planet, humans have become the dominant predator.
Yep.
Not necessarily as individuals, but as kin groups that work together.
For sure.
Because we adapt. And overcome.
Yep. Yep. Always.
Yeah. But so we met at an interesting time in, I guess, both of our lives. We were both getting a little bit fed up with some things, and you left what I assume was a pretty decent career with a consulting firm to start your own
correct
organization.
Yeah, they just shout out to everyone there at that organization.
Right.
I don't want to be marketing for them right now. But shout out to you guys that I worked with before. But I just you know, where I saw myself being an entrepreneur, they saw me kind of
being a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
I know
Even though the things that I was doing was bringing
Yeah,
growth, right?
for real.
I was
Yep.
just, you know, it's hard for me to go somewhere and just do a job. Like, I'm trying to figure out
Right.
how to make it better,
Right.
right? Because I'm the
Yeah.
one out here talking to people, and I'm in the market. Like, I know what's
Right.
going on, right? And, you know, just from even the Dallas College situation, they didn't
Right.
want me to take that on.
Right.
And I was like, this doesn't make sense, y'all. Like, we're a consulting company,
Right.
and this is the
yeah.
opportunity for us to consult.
And they had their
And-
business model, and
Yeah.
and they disagreed with you on that.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, they still tried to keep it going once
Sure.
I decided
Right.
to leave.
Right.
And it was like, no, the college was like, it's too late. He's gone. He had the relationship here.
Right.
He understood
Yeah,
the vision, and
that
y'all
happens.
just threw away millions of dollars of work. But that was my whole
Right.
idea behind the situation, to land this, and then we can do that side of the work once we get this part done.
So what is the obviously I know the answer to this question already, but what's the name of the business that you're doing now, and what's that all about?
So the N Group International, DBA's INGIN, INGIN, and now I call it a B2B marketplace. Right. N Group International is a B2B marketplace, and INGIN subsidiary is the technology-focused side of the business, right?
Yeah.
But it's basically bringing all the best of the best
Yeah.
in the technology space together to go and solve, you know, business problems, right? Providing solutions for these business problems, right, across the board, whether it's something in the, you know, front end, you know, the user experience, or something on the back end, right? The technologies that, you know, need to go in place, or the, you know, just whatever, right? The connectivity issues and whatnot. You know, I just wanted to be able to bring credible organizations together to go and provide solutions for these problems, because everybody's facing them nowadays. Right, and there's new, you know, technologies coming out every single day, it seems like. So, you know, staying ahead of the curve for a lot of these organizations. And I understand that these massive organizations, that's a much bigger, it's like turning the ship.
Yeah, it's a big
right?
ship to turn. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but being able to be in place and have the solutions they need, I thought was very important. You know, after speaking with, you know, like PepsiCo's and Yum Brands, and having these conversations with these companies that they're like, look, man, we can go and we can find worker ants anywhere. We need someone to come in here and show us what we need to do. You know, show us the solutions that are out there for these, you know, CPG problems, for these, you know, logistics problems.
Logistics,
like
transport.
Yeah, you know, just everything.
Smart cities.
Yeah,
everything.
Smart cities, and the, you know, even the new workforce coming up now. You know, their attention spans are, you know,
very different.
Yeah, they're not as long as ours. They don't, you know, you don't see too many books being read anymore.
Well, you don't see too many books being read, but at the same time, you know, like I've got a teenage son as well, and you'll see them spend hours, days on, you know, some anime or something that, like, I can't even imagine spending that much time.
For sure.
But then they're you know, they're not reading traditional books the way I would read a book or you would read a book. So it's, you know, it's not that they don't have an attention span. It's just that the attention is directed in other places
and
where
something else.
Yeah,
completely different.
And as you're, I think you were getting at, we're going to have to meet them where they are.
Absolutely.
If we want to engage them to bring them, you know, because they're going to be driving the future soon, real soon.
The traditional style of standing in front of the class and teaching is no longer effective or as effective as it once was.
If you're just standing up there trying to get somebody to recite a bunch of facts, you're wasting your time.
Absolutely.
Because they can get that shit from Google.
Yep.
And they probably know as much as you do or more about what's the underlying stuff.
You can't just say something and say that just because I said so anymore.
Right.
Like, these kids are
because some little suckers will go look it up and come back on you with some shit.
Quick. Absolutely.
Yeah, like that doesn't make sense.
Yep. No, it's
because Dr. So and so said.
Yeah, no, it's like
and be citing references.
Yeah, and usually they're right, and it's so frustrating. You know? It's like, come on, kid, like back off, man. Like just relax. We're getting there.
So you see yourself in Group International as a marketplace and someone who connects and kind of organizes those interactions between these different specialty organizations.
Correct.
Gotcha.
On my Instagram page, I have in my clubhouse that I rarely get on.
Yeah.
MVM is the acronym that I like to use, and that's most valuable middleman.
I love it. That's cool. Yeah. Well, and there's I've been reading some books recently about expertise versus generalists. Mm-hmm. And I've decided to start calling myself a specialist in being a generalist.
Yes.
Because
expert generalist.
Yeah. Because I just there's a few things that I go deep in when I want to, but I wouldn't claim to be an expert in even the stuff that I am kind of an expert in.
Yeah, for sure.
And
but
I know the people who are.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And where I think somebody like you comes in for business is you need, as a business, you're focused on your business, mm-hmm. and you need these other things either to keep the business going, mm-hmm. or to open a new line of business, or just fend off competition.
Correct.
And having the non-specialized view, that generalist view, to be able to see how the pieces fit together at a broader picture, mm-hmm. is I think it's one of the things that people lack sometimes. Yeah. And we won't mention any names, but we see some companies from time to time that struggle with being locked, so tightly focused on their world, mm-hmm. that they miss something that's coming at them from the side. Absolutely. Well, I mean, the classic example is Blockbuster.
Yeah. Yep.
Blockbuster was doing a great job. I mean, I used to love some Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was in there every Friday night catching a movie.
Yeah, right.
Getting ready to eat some popcorn with my best friends.
I mean, that used to be the cheap date night.
Yeah.
Like you go Pizza Inn, Blockbuster.
Yep.
Go watch a movie.
And I'd run into like 3 or 4 of my friends in Blockbuster.
Right. Yeah. And next thing you know, it's a party.
Exactly, man.
But they were so tightly focused on that model that when somebody came along and was first of all, who's got get DVDs by mail? That's the stupidest thing.
Yeah. Yep.
And then next thing you know, they're streaming.
Yeah.
Well, nobody's going to do that. It's too slow.
Yep.
But there's these other things that were creeping in from the side on them,
sure.
and they just they were too focused on that one business model to be able to one, see what was coming.
Yeah.
And then 2, to be able to pivot to react to it.
For sure.
And that's from what I've seen, I think that's one of the things that you can bring to the table is even if you don't know it, you've got people on staff or on hand, on call, I guess, that you can bring in to put a different spin on things.
For sure.
And
Resources,
help people understand.
Man. Resources. Yeah. Extremely resourceful.
I like that word. Resourceful is a good word.
I was having dinner with a couple friends, and Darren Woodson, the old Cowboys safety,
right.
Hall of Fame guy.
I say that like I just immediately know who you're talking about.
He's a stud here around town.
Yeah.
But he called me the source, like in our conversation.
Nice.
I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with that. And
that's a compliment, I would say.
Yeah, it was like 8-9 years ago.
Yeah.
And I've always, I've got friends that have always desired to be this and desired to be that, and I always said I wanted to be the best middleman on the planet, and I didn't know what that would look like.
Right.
When I was younger, but it's evolved. I think I've said it so much.
Yeah. Well, we've gone through, or I've lived through a time where being the middleman wasn't a good thing.
Yeah.
But usually middleman in that context was somebody who sat between the source of the money and the end of the money.
Yeah.
And they didn't really bring any value.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is very much more of a value-based.
For sure.
Thing, where you're bringing a significant amount of value to both organizationally and in terms of connections. I don't know what the big fancy word for that is, but
if you want to call it like third-party sales.
It is
right?
kind of, yeah.
It's like third-party sales in a way, if you look at it that way.
But you're also
sales teams
so you do that for the suppliers, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
But you're also sort of a concierge for the client side.
Absolutely.
Where rather than them having to go out and vet different people and figure out is this the right person to do this job, like
sure.
you're also doing that part of it.
Yeah, they're already vetted. My mom always said there's a lot of power in a name. So,
right.
Everyone that I've affiliated myself with, they're
right.
extremely credible. I've done
right.
great work for all NASA and
right.
Disney and all kinds of just credible names.
Right.
Right.
Some big names don't want to be talked about.
Yeah. People that you can't question.
Yeah.
Right. If they're working
right.
for those guys, they must be really dang good at what they're doing.
Right.
So,
they definitely got a reputation behind them. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I try to stick to that that premise and I continue to partner with organizations that bring value. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I like to call it, I streamline the process, from having from them, the organization that I'm working with, to have to go out and
right.
do all that vetting. I just streamline it. Here they are. What do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Here you go. So.
Cool. So we can't let it go by without talking about the big show.
Oh, yeah.
The big show.
Oh, Noonish?
Noonish.
Yeah,
Noonish
man.
Live.
Yes.
About this time last year, I guess it was.
Yeah, almost.
We were talking
September.
about.
Yeah, this is where the conversation started.
We should do a podcast.
Yep.
And I am honored to be a part of that show.
El Grande Toro.
El Grande Toro, yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's the with the headband.
Yes, love it.
And I can't get away from it now.
Yeah, no, you gotta keep
people
it coming,
want to know what's up. You don't have your headband.
Man, did you notice on the last episode of season 2, you didn't wear a headband and I didn't wear a hat? Like, it was all whacked out.
Everything was whacked out. It's still a good episode, though.
Yeah, I don't think they confused us though. I think they still.
You think so?
Yeah.
So obviously, I know the answer to this as well, but let's just run down a couple of things. First of all, what's Noonish about? What are we?
Yeah.
What's your take on it?
So,
I got my take on it.
The focus is sports and technology.
Right.
Right. Because that's
a little bit of business.
Yeah, that's an interest that we all have.
Sure.
You, Mark, and myself.
Yep.
We all, sports.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to get Mark on talk about Bitcoin.
Oh, absolutely.
Or not Bitcoin. We'll talk about XRP.
Yeah, altcoins and everything going on there. But that's just the focus of ours. And then, I've always wanted to have some type of an outlet for athletes or, military
right.
Veterans to come on and talk about their transition from that. Athletes or veterans that are now in the world of business.
Right.
Right, and just talk about that transition, because that's something that we all have in common. That's just it's a lonely place. Mental health awareness is a huge focus now. And, there's just so many people that don't make that transition as easily, right?
Yeah.
So to have a support group or...
Yeah, you're going from something that's very tightly focused on specific types of goals.
Yeah.
To a world where nobody's telling you,
real loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
There's no real agenda.
Right.
You're really making it up as you go.
Right. Well, you don't have a coach.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily usually don't have teammates anymore.
Yep.
Don't have a coach.
Yep.
You don't have, the whole routine is gone.
And I've said it a million times. There's a loss of identity that takes place there. Right. You've for so long identified as this person, whether it's in sports, as this baseball player, football player, or in the military. As this. Army or Navy guy, I don't know, but anyway.
Sailor, soldier, whatever, airman.
Soldier,
you get out and you've had this life for however long.
The structured life, the
structure, and you've had a team, that you think of in a lot of ways as family.
Yeah.
For in all the ways that means.
Yep.
And you have senior people, hopefully, who are mentoring you and acting as coaches. you know, some better and some worse, just like in sports.
Yeah.
And then you get out, and there's no,
It's all you.
Most of the time most people leave, get out of the military, and they're now geographically, physically very far from anybody that was in their team.
Mm-hmm.
They no longer have that structure. They no longer have that mentor, coach, senior officer, whatever.
Yeah.
And now what do you do?
And now you combine that with the pressures of having a family.
Which a lot of people have.
Yeah. And it's
now more than ever, there's PTSD. There's political pressures of one sort or another.
Yeah.
And it's
just a lot to deal with.
It's a lot to deal with.
Times, yeah. So I felt that it was important to provide a platform where people could come and express, and show, what they're up to now. Right. Even though I'm not this ball player anymore, I'm still me,
Right.
And I'm interested in these things, and this is what I'm doing now. So, give
maybe
them some way to
just
market their business.
Give them a way to market their business, but also give them a way to share the message that look, you can do this.
Exactly. You can do it too.
You can do this.
Yep, absolutely.
You can make it through this.
Absolutely. And that's,
you can do something with, you can move on to life after baseball or life after Army or.
Yep. Yeah. And provide, steps, right? To this is what I did,
Yeah.
Asking, how'd you do that? How'd you make that transition? Oh, someone introduced you to this, so you had a mentor and whatever. So just giving advice and somewhere for people to come and tell their story,
right?
And tell the things they struggled with and how they overcame it. And I think that's important, man.
So let's do some fun, some somewhat more fun, open-ended kind of things.
This is great. I'm having a blast right now.
What so you've done some recruiting, and been involved with recruiting for both business and for sports. How would you fix recruiting as it is today?
Man,
does it need to be fixed?
Yes, it does. There's some stuff that I can't fix, but there are people.
But if you were the boss of the world,
there's got to be some type of regulations put in place, man, because there's some people that lie just to get you in the office.
Okay.
Right. And
so on the pull side, on the demand side, there's people who are misleading.
Absolutely.
Young people
into coming in and promising them the world when this is not really the what's going on.
Not giving them a realistic picture of what's going on. Once they sign.
Yeah, and even in recruiting, right? I wish that recruiting for sport. I wish that people would be a little more genuine, and paint a more realistic picture for a lot of these athletes, because you go in as a freshman with no plans of redshirting, and because you've been told that you're the starter, and you show up and it's 9 people at your position. Right. It's like, what is going on? I didn't know about Douglas over here. Yeah. But just some type of transparency. I think that there should be more transparency in recruiting and in the negotiation process. Yeah. And that's business or sports. So. Right.
There's definitely some room for improvement.
Yeah.
In that regard.
Yeah.
So if you could send a Twitter length message, whatever that is these days, a short message to yourself at, let's say 15 and 25. So two different messages to do to two different ages. What would you tell yourself?
I tell myself, work your ass off, because talent and skills are 2 different things.
Facts. Hard facts.
Yeah, yeah, and stay focused. Stay focused on.
You say that like you're not one of the most focused people.
Well, yeah, I am, but the younger me, my ears were a little more open than they are now. Anybody will tell you anything. I trusted easily as a kid. Yeah. And there's some things that I don't have any regrets or anything, but I wish I would have, you know, stayed locked in on my schoolwork. You know, focused a little harder on my schoolwork and not relied on my athleticism and just applied myself a little differently in those other areas. Right?
How many people do you hear say that, something similar to that? I wish I'd paid a little bit more attention.
Oh man, I hear that all the time.
Yeah,
I hear it all the time. But you know, hindsight's 20/20.
Right.
You know, you don't know until you know.
So I wish I had paid not so much paid more attention, but I wish I had known what questions to ask to get at the good stuff.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you don't get the. We were talking about you know, teaching, you know, just learn these facts.
Yeah.
And you know, how do you know what questions to ask?
Yeah.
But yeah. What about 25? What would you tell yourself at
I tell
25?
myself at 25. Oh man.
Because that would have been now, knowing what you know now.
Yeah.
You're about to have a kid.
Yeah.
2 years later.
Yeah. You know, 25, slow down. You know, you don't have to conquer the world in a day.
Yeah.
I
think that's good advice for most
just,
any.
You know, take it easy
anybody.
and you know, maximize each and every day.
Yeah, make the best.
You know, I think I did then, but it's just you know, I didn't. I was thinking about, man, what is 30 gonna look like? What is 40 gonna look like? Instead of just focusing on 25.
Yeah, fair enough.
If that makes sense.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. What do you think about trip hop?
Trip hop?
Camina, De La Soul.
What is this? What are we talking about? We talking about some De La Soul? What are we talking about?
We're going old school.
We talking about some music right now?
Yeah.
Man, we talking De La Soul. That's like old school hip hop.
That's some old school stuff.
What is trip hop though?
Trip hop's kind of that, you know, little like De La Soul.
Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest. See, those are the anchors right there, man.
That's some good stuff. Yeah.
You talking about what's my guy? Oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank right now because I wasn't expecting that question.
that was the whole point.
But no, that's when music was fun.
Yeah.
That's when hip hop was. It was fun. It was to bring joy and happiness.
Yeah.
You know, not to talk down or, you know, it wasn't a bunch of B's and H's. You know, and the music was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys were a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And De La Soul, you know, they were awareness. You know, those guys, you know, that's the music they don't want you hearing anymore.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want you hearing the real message and you know what's really going on, and they don't want anybody enlightening the masses these days.
Yeah.
And if they are, they're probably not going to get signed to a major record deal. But no, those are the golden years of hip hop.
That's some good stuff. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's for sure.
When they actually had a message, it wasn't a bunch of mumble rap. Now I do like the beats on the mumble rap, you know. But
yeah, they got some good beats.
I can't tell you the words just because I don't know if they're saying words.
My son accidentally introduced me to Blueface.
Oh.
I have no idea what any of the lyrics are,
mm-hmm.
but there's some pretty cool beats there.
Those beats are banging.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Yeah. So one more question.
Yep.
Who is someone from the world of baseball, anytime, living or dead, that you think deserves more attention, and why would you pick that person?
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds.
Now he got a lot of attention.
Well, he earned it.
True.
But since he earned it, you know, a lot of people have thrown mud on his name, and they don't mention his name very much anymore.
Right. Yeah. So let's take a brief segue into what went on there.
Yeah. So
because not everybody's going to remember that.
Yeah.
Just as old dudes.
You know, Barry Bonds. He was part of the steroid era.
Right. It's kind of towards the end. He was. I think of his case being one of the, you know, kind of the final nail in the.
Yeah, because he started crushing all the records.
He was killing it. Yeah.
But he was
unquestionably.
Already, so Barry was great, well before.
Yep, no doubt.
You know, the steroid era, and he was actually one of the clean guys.
Right.
And then, he sees the Mark McGuires and the Sammy Sosas
Right.
come out of nowhere.
Right.
Sammy he was on the Texas Rangers with the Jerry curl, right?
Yeah.
$185 and
Yeah.
Might strike out, but he
Yeah.
definitely wasn't hitting home runs like that. And,
No.
those guys, Jose Canseco's and
Yeah.
guys that he was better than his entire career.
Right.
Yeah. College.
Yeah, because that's right. So Canseco kind of slipped through the cracks to some extent on that.
Yep.
Around that same time.
Yeah, and he saw those guys, taking the steroids, and mind you, I'm willing to say 98% of the league was taking steroids at this time, right?
I think it's fair to say there was a lot more
Yeah.
than what was
Yeah,
than the people who got caught.
absolutely, and a lot of them retired, and left.
Yeah,
I can
right.
start reeling off names right
Yeah.
now. How did Cal Ripken play so many games in a row?
Right.
Yeah,
and Wada, it's so like the World Anti-Doping Agency, who I think has some issues, and the U.S. version, which I don't remember I think it's USADA maybe, is so they keep samples on file, I guess, whatever you want to call it, for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't even necessarily escape by retiring.
Yeah.
You can they can go back if they come up with a new test or whatever.
Yeah.
They can go back and recheck that,
Mm-hmm.
and sort strip you of titles and things like that, which is
that's like Olympic though. They don't test the majors, and
they're not involved in that.
No, they're not involved. That's their own majors. That's their own entity. They have their own testers and everything, and but I just think it's unfortunate that he was kind of the scapegoat for it all. Not allowing him into the Hall of Fame, and all that stuff. But you've got several other guys that were on the juice
For real.
constantly going in.
Yeah.
And he did it, like I said, he did it late, and I mean, the man was. Major League Baseball was here, and then this was Barry Bonds. He set the single season walk record the same year he hit the most home runs.
Right.
So that means he was either getting walked or hitting a home run for the most part. And just an incredible athlete, that did some incredible things, brought the game back, in a time that no one was watching baseball.
Right. That's also true. Very true.
I remember news and just television shows cutting to Barry Bonds at bats. To see if he was
just to see what was going to happen. Yep, that's right.
To see if he was going to hit his 70th, see if he was going to hit his 70th home run, and then it was his, breaking Babe Ruth's records, and then it was breaking Hank Aaron's records.
Right.
And, the guy was just incredible.
Yeah. Well, and that that's another point to related to that is like I don't think that those guys, from the Aaron and Ruth era were juicing because they didn't have it.
Yeah.
They were doing other things.
Absolutely. Opium and
whatever.
Yeah.
First of all, anytime you got a thing that's competitive, if there's a way somebody can gain a competitive advantage,
absolutely,
and get away with it, they're gonna do it.
For sure.
And
the pitchers were juiced.
Right.
So it's not like he was just mashing bombs off of some just ordinary Joe taking creatine. Like the guy was juiced up as well. 9 times out of 10. And
I had somebody ask me about creatine the other day. Like, you think I should be taking creatine? And my first response was, "What? Why the hell are you asking me?" and then my second response was, "I'm pretty sure that's not your top priority. There's some other things you probably need to work on first."
That's something I took when I was 15. Was creatine, and it did me well.
Well, I
mean, when I was a kid trying to bulk up and put on some weight, some size, but I was a grown man.
You gotta put the work in behind it for it to be effective.
Yeah,
it's no shortcut.
Yep.
Which talking about the steroids, it's not a free ride.
Yeah.
Like you still have to put the work in.
You still have to hit the baseball.
You still have to hit the baseball. You still have
Like-
to do the practice. You still have
Yeah.
to lift the weights.
Yep.
I mean, it's an advantage, sure, but
Yeah.
like it's not a free ride.
No, that's my whole. You still have to hit the baseball.
Yeah.
Like you can put
Just-
juice in anybody that can, and they still won't come nearly as close
Yeah.
as Barry Bonds did to
Yeah.
what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like Mark McGwire, they took it and they weren't setting walks records and major league like no. Like,
Right.
You know, it just it blows my mind the disrespect that he gets.
Right.
After Major League made so much money off of
Yeah.
him.
Well, we got Sha'Carri Richardson, who's
That's a tragic story.
it is a tragic story. I think that it's just funny how many of these conversations and things keep circling around, and we talk about the same thing in different circumstances, or the same circumstances on a different thing.
Yep.
I was talking to somebody yesterday, Tracy Oswald, who's another podcaster, has a great show. But we were talking about that people have to sometimes get a little bit loud,
Yeah.
stir some shit up to get a change made, because that's the only way that somebody's going to pay attention. Status quo naturally, for better or worse, tends to say, okay, well, even with the best of intentions,
Yeah.
is going to say, okay, well, we'll work on it, and we'll see what we can do, and and next thing you know, 2 decades have gone by, nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed.
So like Sha'Carri's got that situation is tragic for her, but she's handled it amazingly well.
Majestically, yes.
Yes, absolute queen there. And at the same time, there's enough of an outcry that people are looking at that and saying, wait a minute, why are we, this shit's legal in half the states.
Exactly.
Why are we still,
Yeah.
doesn't confer any competitive advantage.
Yep.
I mean, arguably it can make things recover maybe
Yeah.
a little bit better, but it's certainly not making you run faster.
I don't know about recover better either.
Yeah, I don't know
just
either.
a-
I've just heard,
it's-
that's one of the things that I've heard.
Yeah, no, they say that it's it's alternative way versus the opioids that are given out all the time.
Right. So
So-
it's, yeah.
And it's a natural way, but no,
So are you going to ban Motrin?
yeah,
You're gonna
right.
ban- I mean, where you draw the line
Yeah.
there, and I think that there's it's probably way too late to get Barry Bonds back on the field, much less or into the Hall of Fame, much less on the field.
Yeah.
But there's a conversation to be had there about, okay, why are we still, are we doing this the right way?
Yeah.
Is there not something we could do better?
Yeah, no, Barry should. I think he's still going to get in the Hall of Fame. I hope.
Yeah.
It'll be a shame for the Major League home run king to, not be in the Hall of Fame. That just doesn't even make sense.
Right.
And then,
Well, it comes down to we can probably find a better way to manage that than just hard stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Zero tolerance. Like
Yep.
zero tolerance does not work for anything.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the world is just not like that. It
Yeah.
just doesn't work that way.
I mean, I looked up to that guy like when he was Skinny Barry, in Pittsburgh. He was
Right.
on my wall, and I had him and Darryl Strawberry, and I think Barry was the better option of the two to follow, right? Because Darryl had
Darryl had some issues.
Darryl was part
I was
of Rick James.
I was a big fan of Darryl Strawberry.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug,
Yeah.
So,
I still don't have any problems with Darryl.
yeah, no, I don't. I have zero problem. Like he didn't come down off of my wall. Like I wore a Darryl Strawberry jersey one of the shows.
That's
like,
right.
so-
That's right.
No, he's my guy, but I'm just saying Barry Bonds was a great example as a kid growing up.
Yeah.
As a young African
other than that
representation.
Right. Well, other than that one, that one particular line of
yeah. And I don't think it's the steroids. I think it's the fact that he was so focused, he didn't care about the media.
Right.
So he wasn't a rah-rah like media guy. Like,
yeah, true.
He's like, get out of my face. I'm here to practice and play baseball.
Yeah.
And I think they hold that against him More so.
Yeah,
Steroids.
that's not the way to make friends with the the media.
For sure. But they need to reevaluate their voting process.
Yeah, I think so. I think just in general, I think the whole issue of performance enhancing whatever it needs to be rethought.
Yeah.
Like we're rethinking, where where various gender spectrum people can be. We're rethinking where how who and how we do what used to be like Special Olympic events.
Yeah.
Shout out to Josh Smith who's going for some competitive stuff.
Yeah.
Coming up soon, and man,
it seems like common sense just is not that common anymore.
Yeah. Well, and if we can have such flexibility on other things, why can't we come up with a better way to manage the performance enhancing stuff? Because as we said before, somebody's going to do something. Yeah. If there's a way to get an advantage, somebody's going to take it.
And there's enough research and evidence at this point in time to understand what is performance enhancing and what is not.
For real. Well, and even if it is performance enhancing, I mean, so eating decent food versus eating McDonald's, there Mark Clayton to be an exception to that. Yeah. But not eating McDonald's every day versus eating good food, nutritious food is performance enhancing.
For sure.
Now it's just on a different level.
Yeah.
And there's lots of things you can do that enhance performance.
Yeah.
That are not that nobody even thinks twice about.
Yeah. And Barry never lied. It's a thing. Like, he never lied.
Right.
There's guys that lied.
Right. And to this day.
Yeah. Still
we'll go to their grave saying no,
I did not use steroids or perform it, whatever. Right. Like, come on, man. Like,
they tried to do the Bill Clinton.
Yeah. You gotta
you gotta be good to do that one.
Yeah. A lot of this, this personal, these judgments and things, I think there's no place for it in the world that we live in sports. Like, it's either, the stats are there. If the stats are there, the guy deserves to be there.
Yeah.
He earned it.
Right.
Regardless of what was going on, you got to understand what the error was.
Well, you sacrifice. That's the thing. It's like there's so many things that are potentially performance enhancing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so leaving that aside, the flip side of that is, they say that this is for the safety and health of the athlete.
Yeah.
But, you're already asking people to destroy their knees, you've got shoulder problems from throwing the ball. You're asking people to destroy their ankles and potentially come away with traumatic brain injuries and so on and so forth. And we're told, so you can't say that it's for the health of the athlete, because we don't give a crap about the health of the athlete when it's a good show.
Yeah.
We're just, we just have this weird relationship with certain things.
Yeah.
And if we're changing our attitude about marijuana and THC and all the various derivatives of that, starting to see research again in psychedelics for great purposes, helping people with depression and PTSD and so on.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to rethink the performance enhancing, what is and isn't, and where are we drawing the line.
Like, even with Adderall, this is so confusing to me. Like, with Adderall,
right,
it's performance enhancing unless you have a doctor's note.
That's right. Yeah. So if Sha'Carri had a prescription for her glaucoma, she'd have been all good.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it. That doesn't make sense to me.
Right. Yeah, well, and somebody said, a lot of people are saying, I think it was even Biden said well, rules are rules, and that's true, and I agree with that. However, sometimes it's time to change the rules.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as you were saying, as Tracy said yesterday, sometimes you got to raise a ruckus to get the rules changed.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
hard lesson learned.
That's a squeaky wheel.
That's right. Sometimes you got to raise a ruckus to get the rules changed.
Absolutely. Jesse just thinks that I am the biggest rule breaker. I'm just like, that rule doesn't make sense. That rule doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be there.
So I get that. We're gonna wrap it up here, but I get that from my wife as well.
Yeah.
She says you pay no attention to the rules, and I'm like, okay, yes, but first of all, that rule doesn't make sense, and second of all, you do that too.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as you decide that the rule doesn't apply to you,
Yeah.
you take off and do whatever.
Exactly.
But yeah,
No,
I don't know. Is that a wife thing, or
I
is that
think
just
so.
a people thing?
I think that's a can't even say a wife thing. I think that's just a female.
It's just a people. It's people of the female persuasion thing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That better species, right?
Yeah. Well, she gets away with it. I bet
Yeah.
Jesse gets away with it too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So they're probably a lot smarter than we are.
Absolutely.
In that regard.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I'd say we had a great conversation. I appreciate you very much coming out and being the first guest on the Education is Painful podcast, and I appreciate you, brother.
No, this was great, man. I appreciate you inviting me on. I hope you can get a couple nuggets out of this thing.
Yes, sir. I think it'll be great.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. This is fun. Proud of you again, man.
Yeah, same, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. All right.
Right on.